this is Brian Van from Sportbike Track Gear and Mathias Schaub from Spiegler Performance Parts. It's good to see you again, Mathias.
Good to see you, Brian.
Good friend and a great partner in business. He is from Spiegler Brake Lines. He is the importer for this product line in the United States.
Yeah, we assembled all those parts here in Dayton. It's made in the USA. Several components are coming out of the USA, some others out of Germany.
It's a great line. It is our #1 selling line, our most recommended line. It's the same line that we all use on our personal bikes. We've already done another video with Mathias talking about the assembly, the quality of the product. And so refer to that if you're curious about the product, because our idea today was to do an informational and entertainment segment where we actually install brake lines on a bike. Before I go any farther, what I do want to say is, if you are not comfortable doing this job on your own, please seek out a licensed motorcycle mechanic, okay? Everything that we're going to show you today is how we work on our own motorcycles. It does not in any way, shape, or form supersede information included in this secret document, which others may call the service manual, okay? At any time, if you do not feel comfortable, take your bike where?
To your local dealership.
And have a certified technician.
Have a certified technician working on that. It is not recommended if you're not feeling really safe about doing this, to do this on your own.
The reality is, if you're careful and you follow the proper steps, most will be completely fine. I think most guys do put these on themselves.
Yes, Brian.
That is the reality behind it. The bike, we have a 2008 Yamaha R1, local customer. Mathias supplied the lines. We put a post on a local Detroit sportbikes.net forum, had a little contest. The lucky winner here gets a free set of lines installed on his bike, and we get a donor bike to do a little video.
That's great, Brian.
When you're installing the lines, Mathias, what's the first thing you like to do?
I check the content of the box. If I got everything I have, which I ordered, you know.
Okay,
let's see
let's
if
do that.
everything is there. Most important.
And this is just as we would receive it from Spiegler,
exactly
correct?
Right. You don't want to take your bike apart and then just to figure out the parts you're missing.
Exactly, that you're missing a bunch of parts. So here is the bag with the washers and nuts. We're going to look at that in a moment. Let's start with the lines. And we have one cable tie here.
We need this later.
That's our rear line right there.
That's our rear line.
Labeled rear. And here are the two front lines. You will note they are, for this motorcycle, are those identical?
Yeah, they're almost identical.
Yep,
Yes.
for the Yamaha R1 here, the 08, it looks like they're identical. And that's something that you want to pay attention all the way through this job.
Absolutely.
So we have all three of our lines, the rear and the two fronts. We're going to go ahead and set the fronts up here on the seat now, because we're going to start on the back. Let's look in the parts bag and make sure we have everything. We're going to be replacing the banjo bolts today, right? And the crush washers as well. What are these plastic pieces I'm looking at right here, Mathias? What are these for?
That's our famous adjusting tool.
Okay.
So our lines have the feature that you can rotate the fittings to eliminate any line twist. You might have run into this. You try to mount a line, the fittings are not properly aligned, and the line looks like that. You don't want this. You want a nice routing. So we supply with every line kit this adjusting tool, which you use on the stainless steel crimp sleeves. Put it on there after you have figured out what the alignment roundabout should be, and then you can put this white plastic rod through the eye of the banjo fitting and rotate the fitting as needed, maximum 360 degrees. It's very simple, but you have to follow some rules, which is also described on the back of the package. There are the mounting instructions. Please read them.
Definitely not a bad idea. Now we have our aluminum colored banjo bolts. And the way that we like to do it here at STG, Mathias and I have worked it out. I like all of my customers to receive a complete package. I want them to have all the colored banjo bolts. The color will always match the color of the fitting.
Or they can choose another color if they want.
If you want to. But the way that we package it, it's going to be, you know, unless you ask for something different, it's going to be, if you have a black fit, you're going to get a black banjo bolt. Now let's count them up. For the rear, we're going to need two, okay? Two single banjos. We have both of those. Now remember, the point of this exercise is so you don't tear your bike apart and then be left stranded. For the front, we need a single banjo bolt down at each caliper. Okay, one for the right, one for the left. Quantity 2, we have those. Now here is our double banjo bolt. This is going to be the one that will be utilized up at the master cylinder, okay? And quite simply what it's going to do is hold both lines, okay? Now let's look at this pile of aluminum washers that we have in our hands. And just to give you a quick idea of how this works, very simple. If you want to just keep those lines here, we'll actually feed them right through. Banjo bolt, slide on the first crush washer, okay? Put the banjo bolt through the fitting. We need another washer in between the two, right? Between the two lines, like so, and then one more crush washer. This is how you'll do it when you utilize a double banjo. And now we'll go ahead and we'll go through the exercise all the way, and we're going to show you what it would look like with the single, right? Down at the caliper.
One thing I wanted to say is, just in case, this is for instance a coarse thread. If you have an aftermarket master cylinder on your bike, please check the thread pitch. Mostly the aftermarket master cylinders like Brembo, they have an M10x1, so that's a different thread pitch. Don't try to force the banjo bolt in. You always should hand tighten the banjo bolts before you use a wrench.
And you'll be able to hand tighten the banjo bolts all the way down to seat them. If you can't do that, there's a problem.
That's right.
Stop,
and
look,
yes,
compare, and then we're here to support you both at Spiegler and Sportbike Track Gear. If there's something else you need to make it happen, pick up your telephone before you create a problem.
That's right.
And now, the single banjo bolt, and you're going to use, remember, the singles down at either front caliper, and then here on the rear line, both ends, master cylinder and caliper, okay? Single banjo, we're going to once again start off with the banjo bolt. One crush washer goes over the banjo, goes through the fitting, there's another crush, and there you go. That is how that should be lined up. What's the new thing that you're doing with the front brake lines?
The new thing we are doing is now we have the rubber grommets. We had rubber grommets made to hold the brake lines.
Ryan, if you want to come over here.
To hold the brake lines in the original stock brackets. It is not always necessary because the stainless steel brake lines are a little bit stiffer from their structure than the rubber brake lines. So if you feel you don't need to have those rubber grommets, you can cut those off. But we install them, we put them all on our new line kits so that the customer has the possibility to mount them properly onto the OEM mount.
And there's our new feature. Well, we're just about to 10 minutes, and that's our window for the first video, so stay tuned for part 2.